Looking for a high-power integrated amplifier but find GaN amplification a little too intense? Stay tuned. I believe I may have something you might find worthy to audition. Hi everyone, Mark here from Audio Pursuit. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to watch this video. I've been reviewing Peachtree audio equipment since about 2007, starting way back when they were selling ERA speakers, which for budget models were damn good. Over the 18 years, I've had a chance to review several of their integrateds as well as separate amplifiers and a preamp. With each generation, I noticed a definite step up in sound quality and build. Now, when the Carina GaN amplifier came out, I was so close to pulling the trigger and buying that unit, but in the end, something in the back of my brain told me to be patient. Something else is going to come along that's going to surpass it. When the Carina X came out and I saw that it had the Hypex NCore X amplification chips, I began to wonder if this was the model that could beat the GaN. Overall, the exterior and menu of the two models are identical in features and looks. Both have a monochromatic display and a very straightforward and easy to work with menu system that doesn't overwhelm. All the main choices are on a single screen in 2 rows. I really like this, as I hate having to scroll through long series of menus. It's just good menu ergonomics. Peachtree, for many years now, has used the capsule shape with its smooth single MDF piece cabinet, in this case in the stunning mocha veneer, which in my opinion is just plain sultry. It is also a signature for Peachtree, much like the louvers are for Adcom and the big blue meters for Macintosh. The front panel has a soft touch power button that turns green when the unit is on. Next to it is a very smooth rotating input knob that when you push it in, activates and goes into the menu. On the other side of this long rectangular screen is the volume control knob. And then when you push it, you can mute. And finally, both the 4.4 millimeter balanced and standard 1/4 inch headphone jack. On the back panel, starting on the left side, you see your horizontal master power rocker switch. Below that, the standard power cord input socket. Next to it on the upper left is the Bluetooth antenna and then some nice spacing. And then comes the right channel binding post in a horizontal set. Below that is your 12-volt trigger input and output jacks. Next to those is a USB-C input. And then continuing along the bottom, the optical, coax 1 and coax 2 inputs. Back on the upper level is the left speaker binding post. And finally on the upper level, the grounding wire for the phono. Below that is first the preamp outputs, followed by your phono or auxiliary. And there's a little switch to designate whether you want the phono preamp to kick in. And it is set for cartridges. While it may be plastic, the Peachtree remote is one of my favorites in audio to work with, as the layout is broken up into various sections in what I would call zones, each with a different feel and shape. This allows it to be quite easy to use once memorized without having to look at the buttons. It even includes, at the very bottom, a set of 8 presets for use with Bluetooth. Sliding off the veneer capsule case One can see on the front left are the separate right and left channel amplification boards. Tucked in the very front right corner is the headphone input boards. Behind that is the amplifier's power supply board, which is separate from the large board that holds the preamplifier and DAC sections, and this is critical. Finally, tucked into the front left vertically is the moving magnet Phono preamplifier board. That is a lot of items, but as you can see visually, it doesn't appear crowded. If you look closely at the preamplifier board, you can see the dual ESS 9068 chips, as well as the XMOS chip. Peachtree Audio was one of the first manufacturers to allow for deeper control of their onboard DAC. The first area is with the PCM filter, as you see up here. They have linear fast, which means the roll-off is fast and quite common. They also offer hybrid fast roll-off, and that involves the pre-ringing is shorter than the post-ringing of musical instruments. Finally, there is the M-slow roll-off, and it has, according to documentation, a smoother overall flow. In trying these choices, and being an R2R ladder DAC fan, I found the M-slow to be closest to my liking. But this is the best part. You get to choose what is your favorite. Secondly, you can choose between non-oversampling or oversampling of the digital signal. According to the manual, the NOS mode is only recommended if all your incoming digital audio is set to a sample rate of 176 kHz or higher. Otherwise, the high frequency output may be significantly reduced. Once again, I had to play around. And while a few times I liked the NOS mode, I found overall, with the PCM filter set at M-slow, I left the NOS mode off and enjoyed the oversampling. As is custom, I always try out the Bluetooth, and it works as advertised. And when you have guests come over, it's a nice feature to have when they want to share some music that they've heard. They can quickly pull it up in their smartphone once the Carina X input is switched to Bluetooth. Another neat feature within the menu is being able to choose between the digital volume attenuator or a hybrid model that uses a resistor ladder setup. One thing to keep in mind, if you use the hybrid, is occasionally you will hear some clicking sounds, as stated in the manual. The display can be set to always on or to shut off after several seconds. I left it on all the time while I was messing around with all the listening choices. But once I settled in with my preferred settings, the screen was reset to shut off, as why be distracted? A neat little side feature that I did not try was that the analog input, as well as the coax and optical inputs, can actually be renamed to whatever you prefer, from phono to stream or TV. However, the USB-C and the Bluetooth inputs cannot be renamed. Spinning some music, Waves of Galveston by Iron and Wine with its consistent bass drum hits really highlights the Carina X's ability with percussion. The acoustic guitar in the Milk Carton Kids song Poison Tree, I think, is a very good demonstration of how the Hypex NCore chips handle acoustic guitars. There was no sense of coldness in the instruments. While not the match for a tube amp or even my reference Galleon TSA 75 solid state, the richness of the instruments is definitely detected and is quite welcome. That is the difference from the Carina GAN. Based on some listening notes I found after listening to the same tracks again with the Carina X. The most impressive vocals I heard with the Carina X was delivered in the song Crescent Noon by Karen and Richard Carpenter. I've mentioned this song before, as she performs this song as an alto. The clarity of her vocals, when paired with the violin in the background, is a reminder of what an incredible talent she was, especially when you consider the quality of the recording equipment at the time. Her ability to take a single note and carry it in an incredibly smooth while slowly increasing her volume is really powerfully recreated by the Carina X. Having each chip handle just one channel allows the Carina X to dig out and separate more individual sonics. The chips also, I believe, tone down the sheen that ESS chips, especially in the 9038 series, have a tendency to impart on the music. To really feel how deep the Carina X can dig out the bass with the Buchart S400 Mark II speakers is to listen to the Beatles' classic Come Together. This track is truly a low-frequency powerhouse and has a tendency to make big box AV receivers shrink in their effort to recreate the song. But the Hypex NCore chips definitely show their power, especially with the 600 watts in the 4 ohms, that is the speaker's nominal load. And this incessantly driving of the bass of this song truly pressurizes my 11 to 10 listening space at just 75 dB. Who says you need a subwoofer? Class D amplification has always been a speed champion. Listening to Billy Joel's Travelin' Prayer is a great test. The accelerated nature of the notes along with the vocals comes fast and furious, especially the banjo. The decay is immediate. This is impressive considering Billy Joel albums suffer from what my mentor Jeff Dorgay at Tone Audio called the CBS crunch. The same speed decay is also present in Dan Fogelberg's Nexus. His ever so slight Midwestern twang and breathy vocals stays clean and clear, while the various percussion, including the bongos and the soaring notes of his electric guitar, avoid muddying up the subtle melody. This is a song that I will admit was never well represented on my vintage Adcom amplifiers, as the graininess definitely left a haze over the music. Compared to the Eversolo Play and the Wim Ultra and Amp Ultra that I have in for review, with their digitized and then conversion back to analog, the all-analog Phono section is a nice and obvious step up. The Carina X provides a three-dimensionality that those other units cannot match. Spinning my mobile high-fidelity copy of Dark Side of the Moon definitely shows off the additional spaciousness of Alan Parsons' engineering masterpiece. Of course, if you flip the toggle switch, you can use that RCA input for a CD player or another analog source that you choose to put in the chain. I also want to mention that the Carina X, via the menu, can be set up in home theater bypass mode. Consistency by an audio manufacturer is a big deal in my book, especially if the overall features and quality continue to improve with each generation. While I do admit to missing the vacuum tube that was present in the older Nova series integrated amplifiers by Peachtree, I cannot find fault that Peachtree Audio is on a really good climb. The Carina X is a great member of their lineup. While I especially appreciate the additional horsepower when playing my Magnapan .7s compared to the Carina GAN, the additional torque of 600 watts per channel into 4 ohms did make a serious difference. At $25.99, the Carina X is a definite investment. That being said, the return in build quality, features, overall sonics all come together to make it worthwhile. If you have speakers that crave power and lean a bit to the warm side, the Carina X is a terrific match, as the clarity of the NCore Hypex X chipset brings both clarity and power. I do want to keep the Carina X around. I just need to figure out how. Once again, I appreciate you taking out the time to watch this video, and I hope if you're looking at integrated amps that this may help you in your search. So please, if you like this video, subscribe, as well as hit the like button. That way I can get in more gear to review for small spaces. So until next time, find some really great music, turn off the noise of the outside world, and just escape into the beauty of what music can do for all of us. Take care.